Hallo, assalamu alaikum, good morning, khushamdi, ji ayanu, goeiemorgen.
Becher Agele, Ni Hao, Chule Shumme, Washmale, Ohio Gonzaimes, Guten Morgen, Ola, Boyol, Privyet, Kaifa Hal, Hale Shuma Chatore, Ahlan Wasalan Marhaba, Buna, Mucho, Gracias, Swabia, Balli Karaya. And thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining in to PTV World and watching World this morning alongside the very fantastic, the very amazing, the very superb Shiza Hashmi and Shahzad Khan. Hello Shiza, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, but the question is, how are you doing? Because you were off.
Yeah, I was off and I wasn't feeling really well as well, ladies and gentlemen. But before I answer this question
Okay.
of yours, I think this is a good news, man, ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen. So we have actually been joined by a new sofa set on our show, and yeah, it's really upright and it's really like bumpy, and
I
I'm kind
like
of
it.
enjoying how the posture is while sitting on it as well. Do you like these sofas?
I do like, I was actually waiting for, I didn't introduce them yesterday as well. It was, of course, very noticeable because we are sort of changing the entire set,
Yep.
and there are going to be a lot of changes in the near future as well. But I was waiting when you come back, we're going to talk about it and whatnot.
So let's talk about it. Okay, so the first thing which I've noticed is that the posture, why when you sit on it is very upright, which
Yeah.
which I think I like it, and I think it's good for our guests as well because usually when the guests used to come, for the sofas we had earlier, ladies and gentlemen, the cushions weren't really fresh, so the person would just
Yes.
actually
Slouch,
submerge,
sort
yeah,
of.
submerge into the sofa and be like this. So that didn't look nice. So now finally we're all upright. The sofas are here, thanks to our boss, to the PTV World administration, to our producers, putting in a lot of effort and getting us the new sofas. We hope that we
Absolutely.
might look after them now.
Oh, we will, inshallah.
Yeah,
I mean, we must obviously. But
yeah,
speaking of the posture of the sofa as well, Shazad,
yep,
if I were to probably just stick my back to it like you were doing,
yeah.
my legs wouldn't reach the ground because I'm small. Well,
But
but that's
that's
just
that's the best part. Ever since I was a child, I used to do that, and then somebody used to tell me that one shouldn't actually do it. And then eventually, when I outgrew myself, I was like, why can't I still move my legs? So now,
it's
whatever and whichever sofa I sit on, I just cannot do that. So you have the luxury to actually
it's
have some
fun.
playtime while doing some work as well.
I know, it's fun. But that was just on a lighter note, ladies and gentlemen. We love to share everything, especially in the morning with you, especially that is, something to do, first of all, with our show. And then in terms of information,
Yep.
we love doing that, Shazad. You know how we mentioned it's our sort of responsibility, yes, but more than that, it's our passion.
Yeah.
We love to talk to you. We love to share our mornings along with all the right kind of information with you.
Exactly.
And then also to aware you of the things that are going wrong, in our whereabouts, in our surroundings, so that all of us can be safe as well. And in line with that, we've actually picked up a topic which is going to, well, of course,
Yeah.
make us aware and be safe as well. But before that, Shazad, I'm going to take you back to when I asked you
Yes.
why you were off.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think I've been in a habit of eating outside, so I would, because I go to the gym and all of my protein intake can't actually be delivered to me or actually brought to me by my chef or by the kitchen in my household. So what we used to do was that we've actually selected or shortlisted a couple of restaurants where we would go for barbecue
Okay.
as well, so that we can kind of reach out to the kind of protein levels we want for our body. But then, unfortunately, what happened was that my nephew actually came up with this idea, and then he was like, Bhai Mamu, what we should do is that we should actually go out to a wonderful place, sit down, over the weekend and just have dinner over there. So we went to one of the most amazing restaurants. Well, presumably, I think.
Chinese, was
Yes,
it?
it was a Chinese restaurant we went to here in Blue Area. I'm not going to name them
Okay.
because it's not really right. And yes, so we had food over there, and then the next 3 days, ladies and gentlemen, I was on bed with temperature, with my stomach rumbling, and me throwing up as well. So it wasn't a great feeling, and that was the time when my parents actually made me sit down and were like, hey, you know what, you cannot eat out every day and it's not even healthy. And I've realized it for myself as well, because those 3 days, there might have been days where my stomach has been upset or might be throwing up, but this was a very different feeling, ladies and gentlemen. There was temperature, and then all of a sudden you start to think whether it's corona or not. So it's better to
God
be safe
forbid.
than sorry. So please make sure that you do eat out, but eat out at places which you think serve you a good meal.
But Shazad, that's the thing about, we were just talking about this place and we know that it is a reputed one.
Yeah.
So we never know when it's a bad day at their place as well. So we can't really pick and choose.
Exactly.
But the good thing is, well, we really don't have to go out anymore. Of course, first, because of the pandemic, we should really be careful. But second, internet, everything is so easy, Shazad, right? I mean, imagine, well, let's go 10 years back when Food Panda was a thing in Pakistan, or similar services. So many to name, by the way. It was really, the only sort of outing was to go out and eat with family, of course, with friends, whatever, and then come back. That was the only way you could have food from outside, or just, of course, go out and bring it home. But it's so convenient to actually just be sitting at the expense of your bed, ordering food all the time. And it's not just food, actually, internet has made life so much easier, right? It's just a click away, everything.
Exactly. But Shiza, that's very rightful of you to say that, internet has made our life easier. But we really need to ask those people who've actually gone through a similar situation, which is not really very fruitful and not even positive. There have been people who've been complaining about that their money's being stolen. There are people who say that, we have been stalked. There are people who say that their emails have been hacked. There are people who say a lot of other things. There are a lot of people who actually distribute pictures of other people without the consent of other people as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, whenever there's good, there's bad as well, or whenever there's bad, there's good as well. So I think what we have picked up on today is cybercrime, ladies and gentlemen, which is relatively new in Pakistan. We haven't really talked about it much. There are a lot of confusions, but in 2016 PECA came out as well, and there have been a lot of controversies about it. I still remember when it came out, I think that the then government actually said that if somebody's actually going to make a meme about our party chairman, he or she will actually be behind the bars for 5 years or 3 years and will have to pay, I think, 1 million or 500,000 rupees as a fine, which to us was very obnoxious kind of a law, because I think that memes shouldn't actually come under cybercrime.
Yeah, but there's a very fine line, right?
Yep.
Of course, while you and I are thinking of memes is a joke or probably something funny, or of course, with the context, yes. But the people who do make it, there are lobbies and everything, but this is what we have to identify over here. You spoke about how in 2016 there was a law in place. There still is, ladies and gentlemen, which is why thankfully a lot of cases can now be catered to and, heard of because of if they do fall under that law. But there are so many loopholes. And one more thing, Shazad, I was studying, it was in a newspaper again. It said that in 2020, as compared to 2016, 52% increase in cybercrime has been seen. In this year alone, imagine that, it's more than double. Isn't that insane? And what type of crimes? Like you said, money fraud, if that's the right term. Yes, and then stalking, of course, and then hate speech. What is with hate speech? And actually, a lot of numbers from the stats that I just shared are from journalists, especially women journalists. Because people just think they are entitled to probably share their hate with people on the internet. That's just not fair, Shazad. Imagine waking up one day, opening your social media and getting thousands of hate messages just for being who you are. That's insane, right?
And yes, it is. And this is the new norm, ladies and gentlemen, and I just don't like it. We see people arguing over WhatsApp probably or FaceTime, and then making sure that the video is going to go viral as well. I have just recently seen two people arguing over video chat, and they started to actually slap their cameras with the slippers as well, and then abusing each other, which I don't think is a good thing to do. But ladies and gentlemen, what actually falls under cybercrime is something which we'll be discussing today. But let me remind you of one thing, ladies and gentlemen, that FIA is actually very efficient in actually filing a cybercrime and then making sure that they're going to nab the person who's actually behind it as well. Because I've gone through it myself. It's a long story. I was in Karachi back then as well, where this was this gentleman whose email was hacked, and there was these personal pictures which were leaked out of it as well, and then we got the guy. I think that before, rather than me telling you this, I think we should actually focus on what cybercrime entails and how we can actually protect and what are our rights and where we are doing wrong to somebody else. Because if we do not know the law, we might actually be breaching it as well. Ladies and gentlemen, so without any further ado, we are very lucky that we've actually been joined by somebody who happens to be the member of International Bar Association. He's a senior lawyer as well. He is Mr. Shahzad Siddiq Alvi Saab as well. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning.
Assalamu alaikum. Good morning.
Walaikum assalam, sir. Thank you very much for joining us. Wonderful to have you once again.
Thank you.
And whenever we have such a topic, we would want you to be here rather than anybody else as well. So
Thank you.
let's get the conversation started. First of all, cybercrime and cybercrime law. Let's talk about it. What is cybercrime, sir, and what falls under it?
Well, cybercrime basically it's a modern kind of a crime. Like as the whole world has entered into a world of internet, and this is the best way of access of the knowledge and access of the information
Yeah.
and transfer of the knowledge as well. But with this all, the loophole, or what I'll say, the problem that also comes with this modern technique, and that has become a crime. This technique is using for some sort of the illegal aim and objects.
Right.
So this is called cybercrime, because this is a very new thing in Pakistan. Before that, there was a typical, the Pakistan Penal Code of 1860 that is applicable in Pakistan, and somebody has theft something, so the police will go and will arrest him and will collect this thing. But later on, basically, the legislation was started in 2000 from 2004, when first case was come upon the surface that there was some sort of a bank fraud in Citibank, and that fraud was done through credit card, and somebody transferred the amount from one account to another account, and the police was very much worried that the typical
Under
previous
which law do we get the
yes, the
person?
previous law is not applicable,
Yeah.
because nobody went somewhere, nobody entered in the home, in the vessel, and collect the amount. So from that law, we cannot prosecute someone. But then this thing was started in under research and under process, that the law should be amended into a new form. And then this is the latest law in 2016.
Okay.
Before that, there are some laws of money laundering and electronic crimes as well. But this is the latest law. But again, I will say that this law has also deficiencies, because the thing is that the crime is going very speedily, going fast and fast. But law is not covering that. The space.
And we do want to talk about that as well, but I think that will be a very advanced version of our conversation. Rather, we want people to understand that, what actually falls under the list of cybercrime as well. So, so that we know that we are not doing any harm to anybody else, and that we actually fall under the law, God forbid, if we have done something. But very quickly, before I move on, there's one more thing which I wanted to ask, and that is that there are these telephone bankers. That's how they actually introduce themselves as well, and they're like that, sir, we are calling from this franchise, and we're supposed to actually get this kind of information as well, and we know that it's all fraud, and everybody gets so many calls every day as well. Does that come under cybercrime as well, because it's over a telephone?
Yes. If any call, any obnoxious call which we receive upon the telephone, on the cell phone, and if we have been, victimized by some of a person through this kind of attempt, then the FIA and especially the cyber wing that comes under the domain of that cybercrime. And one thing more which I will tell, especially that nowadays maximum the people which come across to me, they told me that we received a call that you have got there's a big prize from Benazir Income Support Program. There's a prize from a bank, and the new
I once won a car.
Yes.
And game shows especially, calling people.
Game shows. And then one thing, there are new apps which has been introduced, that from those apps they will say that you can buy the house on a very nominal rate and installments. Because in Pakistan, this is a third world country, the basic need of the people, that is a home. Their basic desire is a good car. Their basic desire is the good stuff of the dresses and these things.
Basically.
Yes. So these people they made these apps to apply on a common person, relying upon his common psyche. So they use that psychological their tricks, and the people they receive, and then after some time, when they observe that the person, he is completely in a trap, they started asking money. That you send this amount for this purpose, so this is your basic requirement which you are supposed to deposit in our account, and then your process will be go on, and you come on that date and you collect your new car, and this thing. So this is a kind of
It's
a
so
crime.
sad actually, and it really breaks my heart, especially for the naive people,
Yeah.
Shahzad. You know, we can expect this to happen, and we will know when it happened that, okay, this is a fraud. But there are so many innocent people out there, and probably they're going to, spend all their lives saving just to take something good
But
out
I
of it.
was that innocent back then as well, because somebody did call. Okay, I'm going to share
Okay.
it with our viewers as well. Somebody called me, and I still remember that I was in my university then, and I was I was in fact requesting my family to get me a sports car back then.
Oh, wow.
Which they didn't, never. They were like,
They shouldn't
once you
have.
start earning, you can get it yourself. So I got a call, and it was from, the guy was actually trying to represent one of the telecommunication services over here in Pakistan as well. He was like, sir, you've won yourself 2 million rupees.
Oh, wow.
I was like, okay, what's the process to get it, sir? All you have to do is go to your local branch, or probably to any shop, get five cards worth 1,000 rupees, and you have to make sure that you give us the numbers at the back of those cards, because you get credit then. So actually, what they were trying to do was that by saying that I have won 2 million rupees, they were taking 5,000 rupees credit from me, and probably they'll call somebody else as well. And then my father was the intelligent one. I rushed to my father and I was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to win 2 million rupees. I'm happy. And then all of a sudden he said, you can have your sports car. And I was like, okay, I'm going to have my sports car. Let me do it. So I just got very excited.
All right.
I was like, I'm going to get those cards and whatnot. So I went to the shop, got 5 worth 1,000 rupees of credit cards as well, and then came back home. And then all of a sudden my father was sitting there. He was like, what are you doing? I was like, they're asking for the number. I have to scratch it and send them the number. I was like, wait, hold on a second. Let me talk to him. So he spoke to the guy and he was like, okay, where's your office? The guy said, we're based in Lahore. I was like, we're based in Lahore as well. Where are you based? It was like, this place. And then the next moment, he dropped the call and he was gone. So ladies and gentlemen, everybody needs to be very careful about it.
Absolutely,
Yes.
and there are
Hence,
so
no
many
sports
ways.
car. Yeah.
Aw. But there are so many ways that the criminals or the perpetrators of such acts find. But here's the thing: so I was reading an annual report about cybercrime from an agency, which sort of mentioned different ways of how the crime has increased. Like to talk about. The discussions actually, which actually, I don't know how to say, instigated this kind of violence online, right? And the most common was hate speech in different forms, of course, probably sometimes religion, human rights, whatnot, gender, politics, everything. So let's talk about these things one by one. Hate speech. What are the things that I may write or do on my Facebook that will be counted as hate speech?
Okay.
And then what is the penalty for it?
Okay. So for the hate speech is concerned, basically, it is simply defined that you're not supposed to speak upon the religious views or the ethnic views, what sect he or she belongs,
Right.
or especially the very touchy topic that is religion.
Of course.
Normally, nowadays we are looking at from France and from the other Western countries, some of the lobbies, they started making the posters of Muhammad, peace be upon him, and they are trying to hit upon the religious sensitivity of the Muslims.
Yes.
And then there are, it's a new trend of the YouTube channels. The people, they have made their channels, and on their channels they are spreading their, they want to tell their point of view, but in that cycle, they started hitting the others.
They're kind of ignorant as well.
Yes,
in the views,
and with this is a very serious issue, and about this the Pakistan government is very much serious, especially related to the sectarian issues.
Okay.
It's a very sensitive issue, and then we have a competition with the our neighbor country. They're always trying to hit upon those issues which could become a problem, and the Pakistan nation, especially the person who is sitting on internet, definitely is a learned person, is a knowledgeable person.
Yes.
He should have the knowledge that what I'm listening, whether that is destroying, that is destructive for my country, that is destructive for my nation, or how much I should be influenced, how much I should be, under the influence of that the person who is speaking, what he is speaking, right or wrong. So
Definitely. National security cannot be compromised at any cost.
yes,
That
of
is-
course. So that's why, but I'll say that the viewer of Pakistan, they should be very much, they should well aware that what they are listening,
Right.
what is the motive behind that person who is speaking.
Exactly.
Okay, and sorry,
yes.
Shahzad, but this is sort of in addition to this
Sure.
already. So, okay, I do detect someone who is cyberbullying me in terms of hate speech. Let's say religion. So, what do I do next? And if I do call the authorities, are they going to verify, or is there like sort of a criteria? They'll be like, oh, this doesn't count as hate crime, or it is a hate crime. Let me know about the process.
Yes. First of all, you should have the record. I mean,
Okay.
screenshots or the recording of that.
Proof, basically.
Yes, proof. And then you can contact the authorities through online as well. And the thing is that nobody is allowed to speak about what I have said before, especially the sectarian issues,
Yes.
the ethnic issues. And if somebody is trying to degrade you, if somebody trying to bully you, and these things. So, I mean, somebody can tell his point of view, but it is not allowed to hit upon to tell someone that he is negative and this is not
Right.
what he is doing. If somebody started, hitting upon your point of view, this is very seriously, it's a cybercrime.
All right. So now I think the most important question which needs to be asked today is that, since we are talking about cybercrime,
Yes.
and when we talk about cyber, obviously there are more than billions of users out there all over the world. So for a law which is in place in our country might be very different from a law which is in place in any other country.
Okay.
So for example, if there's somebody in Argentina, giving us hate speech, how do you think that we can go after that particular person?
Yes. If his some sort of the setup here in Pakistan, we can prosecute them, even if somebody is sitting anywhere in the world.
Okay.
And the second thing is that Pakistan government has made some treaties with the different countries regarding the exchange of criminals. But I don't know that Argentina is in that list.
Argentina was just for the
Example.
example.
No, this is what I'm saying.
Right.
That
I don't even want Argentinians to feel bad about it. It was just a name which came to my mind. Yeah.
No. I mean to say that there is a list of the countries.
Yeah.
Not all countries, but with the maximum countries. The previous government as well. This credit goes to previous government, which we should admit, and this government especially.
Exactly.
They are going on the same, line, that they are signing the treaties with different countries related to exchange of criminals. So if we have the treaty with that country, the FIA through Interpol that can contact with the authorities of that country, and we can arrest that person upon the complaint in Pakistan.
Wow.
Yes. And
So
we
is
can.
that for like serious matters in terms of national security, or can it be individualistic or personal as well?
Yes, it could be a serious issue.
I mean, would Interpol be ready to convene if I were to say, some Shiza in Pakistan is being bothered by
Yeah, I
someone
mean,
in Argentina?
if they have this much time on their
Right,
clock,
that's what
yeah.
I'm saying. So are there matters that are prior to others, in terms to be dealt with?
Yes, it's a good question. The thing is that if the FIA they feel that the sensitivity of the issue, then they will take the step, right or not. They will take the step. But here in Pakistan, if we make a complaint, that channel, that ID, or that sort of the access can be
It will
blocked.
be blocked.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, and that's
Perfect.
wonderful as well. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we've definitely taken out a few more laws as well, which are in place for people who are out there. But before we do that, I've got one last interesting question from you, sir, before we head out towards a short break and when we let people know that what are the other laws. And that is that, it is a very regular thing in every household. We see spouses checking, the other's cell phone as well, or probably hacking into it, or probably hacking into their email, to get the information out where is my loved one, let me see what he or she is up to these days. God forbid, if they do not share a very good relationship, that's why in the first place they're checking each other's cell phone. Can the husband or the wife put the other behind the bars just with one single complaint that they've been hacking into my phone?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Wow, you have
because
that
one
power.
thing.
Oh.
In simply PPC, the Pakistan Penal Code,
Yeah.
if there is a complaint from a wife against the husband regarding theft, it is not applicable because the law assume that they both are one.
Yeah.
But if somebody started getting the information illegally, and especially in the parameters of cybercrime, and if it found true that somebody tried to hack the email and this is a crime. There is no exemption for wife and husband.
Yeah, the reason why I'm asking this question is very rightly you have said that, according to the penal code, the law considers us one. And we have seen that whenever there have been arguments within a household and if the police had come, they would rather want you to settle it down yourself rather than
Right.
going to the police station. But with cybercrime, it's different.
Yes.
With
yes.
cybercrime, you're not one.
No.
You were hacking into the phone.
There is no exemption.
So it's a crime. Ladies and gentlemen, don't do
Yes,
that.
yes.
It is a breach of privacy, right? Coming from
And
anyone.
there are one thing I tell you, that there are very dangerous apps that even you install this app in someone's cell phone.
Yeah.
You will get all the data of the recorded calls. You will get the messages, copy of messages, copies of WhatsApp, whatever that is going inside that cell phone. You are getting completely a copy in your, and this is a crime.
This
is
is
a crime.
insanity. I mean, more than a crime.
But very quickly, one more thing. So there's this Apple ID. You know, if you're sharing an Apple ID on different devices, you know, the same device will actually receive whatever chats you've been doing.
It gets synced.
Is that a crime as well? Because you...
Yes. No.
If
I mean,
That's not a crime.
no. See, if that is without consent of that person, because the thing matters, that is the consent.
Okay.
If you are, you are cheating, or you are trying to, get your own objects by defrauding.
If you have hacked into my Apple ID.
Yes. Then it's...
All right, so that's cheating. Very wonderful. I think that a lot of people might have felt a little relieved as well. But ladies and gentlemen, here are a list of a few other laws which we have taken out for you guys. So listen out and let's see. So spreading, and you can actually confirm as well whether this is a law or not.
Okay.
Spreading false information about an individual and up to 3 years in prison or up to ₹1 million in fine or both.
Yes.
Making spreading explicit images or videos of an individual up to 5 years in prison or up to ₹5 million in fine.
Yes.
Yes. Making or spreading explicit images or videos of minor up to 7 years in prison or up to ₹5 million in fine or both. And keeping that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, I would recommend, the rest is your choice, that please do not put pictures of your babies on the internet, because these people, they do download them and then use them on dark web. So please don't do that as well. And not just that, please make sure that you do not even put the locations wherever you are, because we are in a habit of checking in as well. People are after a lot of people.
Shazad, one thing very, very important. Once I saw on the Facebook that there's a person who said that kindly post the pics of your babies who are less than 5 years.
Yeah.
And many people, they have posted, but somebody asked that why you are asking, because in Pakistan there was a group which has been arrested in Kasur and Chunia incident.
Who were doing all of this.
Yes. So
we should be very child pornography.
So we should be very much careful when we're posting the pics of our babies, our kids. And this is, we put the pics of our babies with love and affection, but we don't know what sort of the reaction that comes from the criminals. So we should be very much careful about this thing.
You know what really also sort of bothers me, Shazad, you mentioned about dark web. It exists. Everyone knows it exists.
Yes.
Everyone knows the type of content there is on. I actually came across some screenshots from the dark web about, from pedophiles, of course, about child pornography. And I was, oh my God, this is beyond us. That is some entirely different world. But my question being, if it exists, and if it is being used on Pakistan's addresses, the IP address I'm talking about, how come it still exists? You know what I mean?
Yes. It's a very, very advanced kind of a crime. Very advanced kind of a crime. Unfortunately, right now, we in Pakistan, but I don't think so. I don't have the knowledge that we have that kind of the expert persons, those who can chase them, who can grip them. Laws are there, but this is a very advanced kind of, even in US and European countries, they are very much worried about this dark web.
Right, and people openly talk about drugs and where to get them, dark web.
Yes.
It's an open discussion. I don't know how that's even possible in a country where so many laws
Not
are
only,
against.
not only a drugs, but it's a weapon sale. And
everything's happening. Maybe prostitution, maybe. I mean, this is something which I've heard. I've never ever come across screenshots, just like Shiza actually told us as well.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, but we want everybody to be careful. So for all of those parents who've given access to the internet to their kids as well, please make sure that you keep an eye. Sir, please, we want you to stay here with us as well, ladies and gentlemen. We actually need to go out towards a short break. And yeah, there was one more, and that was cyber stalking as well. And you can end up in prison for 3 years. So for anybody who wants to complain about somebody who's been stalking them, I think this is the right time to do that. All you have to do is you have to complain to the FIA cybercrime as well, and they will do the job, ladies and gentlemen. All they want is and a surety that you will actually pursue the case, because it takes a lot of hard work to get to that person.
Right, definitely.
So very quickly, ladies and gentlemen, with all of these things happening, there was this peace summit which took place in Turkey. Almost 140 people actually attended this
Wow.
peace summit as well, and probably from 70 countries, ladies and gentlemen, if I'm right. So we do have a gentleman who will be actually joining us over Skype as well. We'll be in conversation with them. And the Peace Summit actually spoke about economic distress during coronavirus and Islamophobia, which we have seen recently as well. There have been recent episodes. We'll talk about that. Good morning. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned.
Happy souls.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Well This Morning with Shazad Khan and Shiza Hashmi today in the PTV World Studios, where the spirits are lifted. Energies are very high. Well, we're talking about cybercrime, what counts as cybercrime, and what can actually land you in trouble and that you should avoid doing on the internet as well.
For sure.
But right now, we've actually been joined by some new guests, and we will be talking about the summit that happened abroad that Shazad spoke about. So basically, youngsters are getting together to discuss the SDGs and, to discuss actually how to realize them before 2030, of course, for the betterment of the entire world, not only one country.
Exactly, ladies and gentlemen. So their aim is to actually mobilize youngsters from all over the world, member states as well, so that they can actually be helpful in achieving the SDGs. But not just that, within the Peace Summit, they talk about Islamophobia, and they talked about economic conditions and how deteriorating it got for some people as well amidst COVID-19 as well, and how to come out of this. Ladies and gentlemen, we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by the co-founder of Global Peace Chain. He is Mr. Muhammad Ahmed. He's online with us. Hello, Ahmed. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Walaikum salam. I'm very fine. Good morning and good to see you both.
Very much. It's wonderful to have you, and thank you very much for giving us time as well. We're very short on time. We only have 5 minutes. So please let us know what were the core issues you spoke about in the Peace Summit.
Great. You will be happy to hear that before 2 years, we were here in your show and we then only initiated the Global Peace Chain. And after 2 years, I'm very happy to share the impact and the mission we are carrying on. This is the 5th Global Peace Summit, which held in Turkey by the Pakistani Youth, a Global Peace Chain platform, of course. And what we are basically doing, we are trying to cultivate the culture of tolerance, inclusivity, harmony, and social justice by achieving the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Peace and justice is the UN SDG number 16. We gathered 148 international delegates from different parts of the globe in Turkey, in Istanbul, during this terrible pandemic. We see that the countries who are poor, the countries who do not have enough sufficient economic conditions, they were in deplorable conditions. And what we did, we are forming groups. We are working with the partners in the respective countries, specific in the Middle East, in the Asia, and we're working for the people who are suffering through this pandemic. When it comes to poverty, when it comes to the violation of human rights, when it comes to hunger, it comes to different domains where one has to survive. So I'm very happy that Global Peace Chain is contributing an integral part in terms of making sure that we are providing our great contribution in terms of uplifting the underprivileged and deprived people in the sections. So this Global Peace Summit Turkey also united not only the youth, but the diplomats from 5 countries, which include Bosnia, Afghanistan, Yemen, State of Qatar, and Tunisia. We also talked about the youth engagement in politics and the policy making, which we really think that we have a really great role to counter violent extremism, Islamophobia, and other things. When it comes to Islamophobia, let me share a good example here that we were having international delegates from the Europe. And we talk about that, how we can counter Islamophobia and other religious intolerance. And we agreed that everyone sitting over here will definitely be contributing a pivotal role to ensure that the freedom of speech and the freedom of expression should never hurt any belief, any sect or any religion, because we cannot claim the rights or the freedom by saying that, okay, I'm doing this thing just because to console my heart or just doing my inner wishes up. So it is just a crime, I would say, and hurting people with having a capacity of 1.6 plus billion and on the name of freedom of speech is really a big crime and just nothing else, only hurting in a large scale. So I would just say that we concluded with many other remarks that says that Global Peace Chain is definitely be contributing in this aspect and will keep contributing to ensure human rights, to ensure religious tolerance, to combat violent extremism, discrimination, and ethnic cleansing.
You're doing a great job, Ahmed. Your entire team is doing a great job. And well, I really hope this creates a ripple effect, inshallah. And we do get to see greater results on a global level. Thank you so much for being able to join us early in the morning as well. And best of luck for your future endeavors.
And we are proud of you. Thank you very much for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation with you. Keep up the good work and cheers to Global Peace Chain as well. And thank you very much for making sure that, for the very first time when you came over here, that was the time when you co-founded this very own organization of yours. And now finally, alhamdulillah, in 2 years, you're doing a great job as well. Keep up the great work, Ahmed. But ladies and gentlemen, since it's Rabiul Awwal as well, and since we just spoke about Islamophobia as well, so I think just to get rid of all of that, ladies and gentlemen, we're actually going to praise our Prophet as well. And for that particular reason, we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by Muhammad Zia Qadri Amiri Saab as well. He's with us over here in the studios. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Walaikum salam. I'm fine.
Thank you very much for joining us. क्या सुनाएंगे आज आप हमें?
मैं उर्दू में नात शरीफ सुनाऊंगा आपको।
प्लीज़।
और सबसे पहले मैं पीटीवी वर्ल्ड का शुक्रिया अदा करता हूं कि जिन्होंने मुझे आज अपने इस चैनल पे حضرت محمد صلی اللہ علیہ وآلہ وسلم کی بارگاہ میں ہدیہ نعت پیش کرنے کا موقع لیا. کوئی کمی نہیں رہی، سب کچھ کما لیا. کوئی کمی نہیں رہی، سب کچھ کما لیا. کوئی کمی نہیں رہی، سب کچھ کما لیا. جب سے حضور آپ نے اپنا بنا لیا، جب سے حضور آپ نے اپنا بنا لیا. مرتا نہیں ہے مر کے بھی آقا کا وہ غلام. مرتا نہیں ہے مر کے بھی آقا کا وہ غلام، جس نے نبی کے عشق میں خود کو مٹا لیا. جس نے نبی کے عشق میں خود کو مٹا لیا. دنیا کی ساری نعمتیں اس پر نثار ہیں. دنیا کی ساری نعمتیں اس پر نثار ہیں. جس نے در حضور پہ سر کو جھکا لیا، جس نے در حضور پہ سر کو جھکا لیا. کوئی کمی نہیں رہی، سب کچھ کما لیا.